LinkedIn marketing is my favorite way to get freelance writing clients and copywriting clients because it works, it's fast, and it's easy to make a system and process out of it. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks about how to fix your LinkedIn marketing, how to make it easier, how to move to the next step. But first, I want to tell you about my free seasoned veteran cheat sheet. So this free seasoned veteran cheat sheet is going to give you the exact stuff that you need to do for your marketing. It's going to give you the exact questions you need to answer in your LinkedIn and website, the questions that need to be in that profile to make your LinkedIn marketing shine. It'll also give you how many LOIs and pitches you need to send, how do you actually do your marketing, and it'll give you client questions. So anytime something pops up where you're on a client call and you're like, what do I say? What do I ask? That's what those lists of questions are for. And it'll give you the checklist to onboard your clients for success. So we're going to make sure that all of those things are in there, that we can go through the exact process that all of my Wealth Lab OGs go through. You can grab it at mandyellis.com/cheat sheet. Now we're going to get into the tips. So the number one thing that we're doing with our LinkedIn marketing is making sure that profile is stellar and we understand where our clients are being active. So if we know where our clients are being active, that means we know whether or not we should send our LOIs on LinkedIn as in-mail messages or if we should send them via email. So if we're doing a lot of our LinkedIn activity, we're noticing that our clients are active on LinkedIn. They've been active in the last 3 months, or you can see on their activity chart that they've been active. Then we want to focus more time on sending our LOIs through in-mails. If they're not active, if you've noticed that it says like no activity on their profile, or you've noticed that they're just not participating, you want to send them through email. If you notice that your clients are active on LinkedIn, then they're obviously going to be checking your profile, right? So if you're sending an LOI, they're going to be checking your profile. You need to make sure it's stellar. That's why I put those questions in the cheat sheet, to make sure you knew exactly what to answer, what those high quality clients are looking for in a profile, the answers that they're looking for, the types of questions that they ask, the types of stuff that they're looking for as high quality clients in terms of results or skills or things that you're good at or projects you work on, all that good stuff. We want to make sure that that's in our profile. Remember that there's always going to be a reference point, right? There's so many random fake things and weird profiles and weird platforms that we want to make sure ours looks legit, sounds legit, and hits the same tuning fork for our clients. So when you have that profile set up, we know that our clients are active on LinkedIn, that they send an in-mail, they look at your profile. I've seen this so many times on the back end of my own LinkedIn, where you can see if you have LinkedIn Premium, who's viewing your profile. I sent LOIs, people look at the profile, right? That's how it works. We want to make sure that profile is singing, and because our clients are active on LinkedIn, that we are sending them to a really good profile. The other thing is that if your clients aren't active, you know that LinkedIn marketing is good for finding who should I reach out to, learning more about the company, looking at the content they're creating, and then moving to email to actually send that LOI. Our LinkedIn marketing is this kind of nice mix between having the profile kind of stand guard for clients to come in and find us, and then us also sending our LOIs through LinkedIn or using LinkedIn to find out who's the right person, right? So the right person to reach out to on LinkedIn would be the content manager or content marketing manager, VP of marketing, director of marketing, chief marketing officer. If none of those people exist, CEO. So that's kind of our chain of command. If none of those people exist, send it to the CEO, move on with your life. But we also need to understand that LinkedIn is super powerful for a lot of different parts of our business versus just going on email and just kind of forgetting about, oh, well, my clients aren't active on LinkedIn. That's okay if they're not active. We need to know who we're reaching out to. LinkedIn will also give you information about revenue or funding of the company. It'll show you their social media. It'll show you if they're hiring or firing people, like company growth. That's also something that you can see with Premium, is the charts of like who they're hiring, different positions, and then if their business is growing. There's a lot of gems that are in LinkedIn that are more than just sending LOIs or more than finding the right name. That's the first part. The second thing about our LinkedIn marketing is that we are focused on our LOIs first and then content strategy later. So our LinkedIn marketing is going to be, it's the thing. It's the, like I said, standing guard. It's like the Great Dane of your business. It is the thing that stands guard and says like, hey, there's a client reaching out to you. And I feel like that is more important, for focusing on that profile and actively sending things out for your business, actively sending out those LOIs, actively sending out pitches for magazines. That would be email, but You can find editors on LinkedIn. That is more important than trying to do all the content strategy stuff, trying to post 3 to 5 times a week and write pulse articles and you do videos and all that stuff. That is not actively finding clients. That's like building all of this hopeful stuff that maybe people will interact with and reach out. That's not the same thing. We have to get down the actual LinkedIn marketing process, which is why I go over this so much in modules 2 and 3 in the Wealth Lab, which is opening shortly on April 16th. So if you want to join the waitlist, go to mandyellis.com/course to join the waitlist. But this is why LinkedIn marketing is such a big, beefy section, like the big meat on the bones of the Wealth Lab, is because they are so important. All of the things in LinkedIn is more important than the social media. We don't even get to the social media part of LinkedIn until way later in the Wealth Lab, once you've already done all these other basically building block pieces that have to be there for the foundation. So instead of getting swept up in shiny object syndrome or making sure that you have all these posts going all the time, your LinkedIn marketing means actual steps you're taking every single day to move your business forward. Okay, every single day you need to be taking a step forward and moving that marker in your business. You need to be doing the needle moving activities, which is actively sending connection requests, actively sending LOIs, building your list, checking for revenue, checking company growth, looking for maybe groups that might be a good fit for you, connecting with other writers in your niche. There are lots of things that you can do on LinkedIn every single day to move your business forward versus just creating content out into the ether and just sending it to like an unknown audience of clients, right? We want to make sure that we're putting those things in place and we understand there's stuff that we can do every day on LinkedIn. And I want to make sure that I mentioned that for me, some of the best leads and the best clients I've gotten have been because I have friends on LinkedIn, or I connected with a client before they had funding, or they only had Series A. And once they got Series B, I sent a message and I got some work. So that LinkedIn networking where you're connecting with other writers and making friends, or you're building genuine relationships with people, or you're connecting with baby companies who aren't quite ready to fork over the money for content, that's really important stuff. It's not just creating content and putting in a content strategy. That's so much later on in the process when you know more about your ideal clients and you can speak to them in a specific way. So I want you to kind of parcel those things out. There is so much more to LinkedIn marketing with your profile, with sending LOIs, with understanding should you send that LOI via InMail or via email, understanding your connections, your network, your groups, potential company growth and revenue. All that data and information is on LinkedIn. And I feel like it's really a gold mine of stuff that changed my business. I don't have Twitter. I do have Instagram, but I use that for a different purpose. I obviously have YouTube, but I feel like the LinkedIn piece is the most important social media platform for freelance writers. If you're going to be on a social media platform, your clients are already on LinkedIn. They're already hanging out there. You need to participate where they already hang out, right? I feel like Twitter is good if you're doing editorial. There's editors who will post on Twitter and talk about pitches they're looking for or ideas. But for us, a lot of times when we're looking for copywriting or content marketing clients, and like I said, I have connected with every editor on LinkedIn because that way I know when they move or what they're doing with their job. But I feel like there's so much value in LinkedIn just for a bunch of different phases of our business. So make sure you're paying attention to the actual LinkedIn stuff before you worry about social media and posting and all that other stuff. And then the third thing about our LinkedIn marketing is that it can be systematized and turned into a process so it can get done quicker. I made a video a while ago as a live stream talking about how I can send 100 LOIs in an hour. That's because I've already set up all the systems and processes through LinkedIn. So a lot of times I get asked, how do I do that? Or should I get LinkedIn Premium or what I should do? Yes, like you should definitely get LinkedIn Premium because it makes the process a lot quicker. A lot of my students like Sales Navigator because even though it's expensive, it's $100 a month. It's something that you can use to make a big list of clients and then shut it off and then go do marketing and then turn it back on for $100 and then shut it off. It's something that gives you a lot of data. It gives you email addresses, revenue, company names. You can make custom lists with Sales Navigator on LinkedIn, and it's really helpful. when you're putting LinkedIn together, it's also this process. You know that because LinkedIn is formulaic, you can go in with your LOI template. You can find the right person. You can even search by title on the company page. You look at the company page in terms of tell me some more about revenue, tell me more about hiring, what kind of people work there. You find the person's name. You either send that LOI via InMail or via email, and then you do that again, and you just do that over and over and over again. It's a systematized process that you can get through really quickly. And for me, when I'm sending LOIs, I've already done that process, but that process itself, finding who's the revenue, the person, who do we reach out to, should I do LinkedIn, InMail, or email, all of that is already done, so that when I actually send my LOIs in a big clump, it goes really quickly. That is the beauty of LinkedIn, is it makes it a lot quicker to find all of the information you need. So when you sit down to actually send your LOIs, it's real fast. You've already systematized and processized that LinkedIn marketing process, finding all the information you need to actually send the LOIs. I feel like that really helps. When you're looking at LinkedIn too, there's just so many different types of ways to use it. The other way that I kind of use a system or a process is I have templates for messages. So if I'm going to connect with writers or a Series A company or a Series B startup, they all get a different message. They all are different ones. So I have this huge templatized list that I give my Wealth Lab students of like, what should you say? And here's all the scripts and how do you connect with different types of people? I give them all of that so that they can connect in different ways, because you may come across a writer that you want to connect with and you would speak differently to a writer and say, hey, we should connect for these reasons, versus a company who might be the right client, or a company where they don't have enough revenue to be your client yet. So I think a lot of times when you create these different scripts or these different processes or these different templates, whether that's an LOI template or a connection script or a process for finding the right clients or a process for eliminating, like, oh, I'm not going to reach out to the director of marketing because there's a VP of marketing, or, looking through that, using that through LinkedIn just makes it so much simpler and so much easier to get back to your paid work. I feel like a lot of times people spend their effort on things that don't allow them to get their time back, or they end up spending their time on things that are not helping them get to the next level of income. They're just kind of seeing the marketing part as like the necessary evil, and it takes whatever time it takes. That's not the thing. LinkedIn marketing should get faster over time. If you're going after your freelance writing, freelance copywriting, freelance content marketing, content strategy, brand strategy, whatever your content vertical is, that should get a lot faster and easier over time. And LinkedIn, like I said, is where your clients already hang out. So you should be able to train your eye to look for the right things, to look for stuff where you're like, oh, I have 5 of these clients who ended up being great clients. Let me look for similarities in their LinkedIn profiles, or let me look for similarities in the person I reached out to's profile, right? Each one of those was a VP of marketing. What's in their profile? Or each one of those companies turned out to be a healthcare company. What was in their LinkedIn company page that I could kind of track? That ability to look for patterns and train your eye for those patterns makes your marketing so much faster. And LinkedIn is really good at that because, like I said, it's formulaic. All of the pages, all the company pages or the data is like right there. It's just, there's always in the same place. It's not, customized. It's not color in, this place and different font here and all that stuff. It's all in the same place. So for me, when I'm looking at LinkedIn, it is the gem of finding clients. It is the gem of getting data. It is the gem of finding patterns and systems and processes. And it's something that should take you less time over the course of your career. It's something that you should systematize, put templates up for, and get into something where it's easier to send more LOIs or to create a bigger list. So don't sleep on that LinkedIn. I think it's easy to get distracted by all the, I should post, I should have a LinkedIn content strategy, I should have this, I should blah, 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 wait. It's always that therapy thing where people say like, I'm shooting myself to death, right? But we want to make sure we're using that LinkedIn one-to-one kind of method. I still think after 11 years of doing this, freelance writing clients or copywriting clients are still very much one-to-one. So you end up sending an LOI to one person. You are doing one-to-one marketing. Instead of creating all of these different lists, or instead of creating a giant email list or a giant platform or a giant following or whatever, I think it's way better to work on that one-to-one marketing. And LinkedIn is the place to do that. LinkedIn allows you to do that whole process a lot quicker. Yes, I talk about other tools. I talk about Crunchbase or Hunter.io or Apollo, or I talk about using TechCrunch or using different types of niche publications to find clients. But I think if I had to pick one thing to ride or die with in terms of freelance writer marketing or in terms of a social media platform for my business, LinkedIn would be it. And I think the other thing that I want to mention too, I think this gets lost. A lot of my stuff that lands the best in my freelance, like my course, my community and coaching side of my business, is on LinkedIn. All the freelance writers are there too. So there's this misconception that other writers are all over the place. They're on these other platforms. They're not. They're on LinkedIn. That's where they should be. That's where their clients are. So even in my, I have my regular freelance writing business, my regular 6-figure business, and then I have my course, community, and coaching business, which is why I talk about the Wealth Lab, which is opening April 16th. So sign up for the wait list at mandyellis.com/course. But that stuff that lands super well is usually on LinkedIn. It's the thing that's working the best. And that's because that's where people are. The platform that works the best is where your audience is. It's not just like the platform that works the best for everybody or for this thing. It's the platform that works the best for where your audience is already spending time and gathering. That's LinkedIn. When you're looking through that strategy, like I said, in the Wealth Lab, we go through it in multiple different modules because it's so important. It's so important for you to wear that new pair of glasses and to understand the pre-filtering process and to understand how LinkedIn works. There's even like a behind the scenes video of like LinkedIn Sales Navigator and how to make a list and how to put all that together so that instead of gathering stuff from all these different places, you can make a list in one place, right? So that's another way LinkedIn kind of cuts down on time or cuts down on effort, or it cuts down on money spent. So you, instead of spending money on all of these things or trying to use a ton of free tools, which spreads you really thin, you can just use one. If you're looking at LinkedIn and you're looking at your marketing, right, we want to make sure we start with that profile, but that we're understanding where we're sending those LOIs, where we're sending, whether we're sending them through InMail or whether we're sending them through email. We're making sure that we're not prioritizing just pumping out posts and LinkedIn pull stuff. We're actually prioritizing our one-to-one marketing. We're understanding all of the things that are in LinkedIn that allow us to get data and information and patterns and systems so that we can make our marketing take less time and we can do more of it so that we can actually get back our time to work on paid work or to do whatever you want. This is something I think is important for scaling your business, is getting your time back to work on whatever you want, whether that's homeschooling your kids or building your business bigger or taking more rest time or going on vacation or walking your dogs. That, I think, is kind of that concept of if you get this systemized process down and then you're able to move to that next phase of the marketing, takes less time so you have more time available for other things, whether that's paid work or whatever the hell you want to do. So LinkedIn marketing is really important. Like I said, we work on it in multiple modules in the Wealth Lab. I'd love to have you as a student in the Wealth Lab as well. It's my step-by-step blueprint so that freelance writers can make more money in less time. It helps them actually understand these systems and processes in a very clear and specific way. It helps you make more money through actually getting that time back too. So you make more money without actually having to spend all this extra time doing all these things that don't move the needle the same way in your business. I'm not telling you to do everything. I tell you to do very specific things that work in more of like a more punch instead of like you should do 1,000 things. I think that kind of helps people move through it better. So I hope this has been helpful. Oh, if you haven't grabbed my free seasoned veteran cheat sheet, grab it. mandyellis.com/cheat sheet. You can grab it there. That will also give you those LinkedIn questions to answer. It'll give you the checklist for how to do your marketing. It'll give you the checklist of questions to ask on your client calls so you can filter out for all of those green flags or those green lights. And then you'll also have that piece to onboard your clients. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope this is helping you see how all these marketing pieces work together, why LinkedIn is so useful, what the pieces are that really impact the process and move the needle, what kind of data you're looking for. I hope this has been helpful. And if this has been, useful, give me a thumbs up or subscribe. If you have any questions or you have stuff where you're like, I've tried this on LinkedIn, it hasn't worked, or I tried this and it did work, pop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear. And hope you have a great week.